You're listening to Rocket Night.
Are you ready? Tonight I'm gonna take you on a little trip. We're going down south by the mighty Mississippi. I'm gonna take you to a place where lights live again. Bring your mother, your brother, and your best friend. I'm gonna show you where they dance out in the street. They'll tell you all about your body heat. We're not gonna talk about...
I am Brent with Rocket Night.
All right.
And we are here with members of the Hungover band.
Yes. My name is Gabe. I play drums.
My name is Ed and I play guitar and sing.
Okay, so let me guess, the Hungover name came from?
Actually, not anything drinking related. It was kind of like a hungover on life sort of deal. It's like a pretty angsty statement, I guess, from earlier in our lives.
Yeah. Like 18 years old.
Yeah.
So you couldn't legally drink anyway.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we weren't drinking legally. But,
Okay, so what would you say is kind of a theme of the band's music?
Theatrical, I would say. It's like pop punk with a theatrical twist. A lot of the lyrics are very poetic, and Mark, our singer, was in a art school where he learned how to do creative writing, and that really like played a huge part in the writing process, like lyrically and almost like the feel of the songs. It does feel very like theatrical, in my opinion. I would say like a dark theatrical.
And like in the to touch on kind of like the dark feel of it, it's like the last album. It's called Wilt, but it's like an acronym for When I Lose Touch. So it's kind of like losing yourself, but also finding yourself at the same time. Yeah, like kind of like shed like a shedding of skin, if you will, or something like that.
That sounds like thinking man's rock and roll.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. Thinking man's rock and roll. That's a good way to put it.
So how long have you guys been together?
The entity of the band's been around for about 5 years. The current lineup, about a year, to 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So basically what happened is we had a totally different band called Hungover with 2 records and with a different singer. And when that singer left, Mark's kind of like went up front playing guitar and singing. And it was just a totally different vibe. And so we just kept the name and changed all the music, took all the old music down, and we're technically only a band for about the last 2 years, but we've been around for a long time.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, it's quite a journey.
Yeah.
Quite a learning experience.
Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
To say the least, the learning experience.
Completely changed my life. Like, it shaped me as a person, I would say.
How much time do you spend on the road, would you say?
This year we have spent 9 weeks on the road. That's definitely about the longest amount of time that we have spent collectively. Like last year it was like maybe like three weeks or so. Like we're still trying to figure out our rhythm and like understand the working aspect at home, to be able to get out there to hopefully make that our job, basically.
There's a good balance between touring and real life. You gotta pull yourself back sometimes,
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like back a couple months ago, we thought it'd be a great idea to do a cross-country run for almost 2 months, and
6-week tour, that was.
it was a lot.
It was a learning experience,
It was
to
a
say
lot.
the least.
that was a rough time.
It was an experience. It was both amazing and horrible at the same time.
A couple of us
Yeah.
broke by the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it hard to make money on tours these days?
Yes.
I would definitely say so. It's more or less a gamble until you kind of. It's like there's like a strange like algorithm that you can, once you tap into it, then you kind of know what you're doing. And I've heard of, like I know of artists or musicians that are doing it right, but like in the sense of like the DIY that we are, it is such a gamble. You kind of just go and you hope that like the local bands are pulling that, and then like people like you basically.
Do you have representation?
Yes, we're signed by a label called Smart Punk Records, and we do work with Artery Global with booking now. But before we were self-booking with help from other friends and stuff like that. And we do currently have a manager as well now. We have a full team working behind us, which is nice. It's the first time that like we don't have to worry about anything other than making music, which is really cool. So like that's a unique experience in itself, because it's weird going from having to do everything and kind of being like anal about it to having other people do it for you. But it still doesn't mean we're making money. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like we're making money, but not like enough to like pay the bills. Like
Right.
So we're doing well for a band, but not well as individuals.
The band is at this point self-funding itself. Yeah.
Yeah. The band pays for itself and then some.
Yeah.
And we also pay our people that we pay. Yeah, we just don't get paid. So.
So I gather you all have day jobs that
Yeah.
you come and go. What do you do?
As of right now, I'm a barback at a craft bar in Orlando. Working my way up to be a bartender. That's I guess my personal main goal at the moment, aside from anything music related.
I'm a server at an Asian street food place in Orlando. So the server bartender life,
Yeah.
you know, definitely pays the bills and pays for tours, so it's nice.
Yeah.
And of course the hours are compatible.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, very. And they're super supportive, which is like, I'm so blessed for that. It's awesome how supportive my work.
Actually, I work for, not at, but I work for the owner of Will's Pub in Orlando, which is a pretty notable venue. I believe a lot of people go there. I work right next door to a little bar called Little Indies. Yeah, so they are obviously very into music, and they're all for the music life, which is it's a blessing, definitely.
How would you compare the Orlando music scene with Tampa music scene? Or I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I mean, I'm not super familiar with Tampa, but when I think about Tampa, I think like hardcore.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hardcore bands, a lot of like straight punk bands.
Yeah.
And Orlando's a little more like poppy, like the pop punks, and it's a little happier. Not like happier people, the music's just a little happier.
Yeah, I would definitely say it's more of like a heavy, like a hardcore metal scene here, at least that I know of. And then like national bands always do really well in Tampa. Yeah, like the Orpheum is one of my favorite venues in Orlando, or not Orlando, in Florida. Excuse me, in Florida. And Orlando, it's like I know that there's a lot bigger of a hip hop like kind of artsy, like avant-garde sort of scene, and that includes like punk bands or like noise bands or really whatever you can get into. But
Orlando has like an insane music scene,
Yeah.
not just like genre. Like
Yeah.
any genre, there's a pretty huge following for almost any genre
Mhm.
in Orlando, which is really cool.
yeah,
It's like Orlando's like the Austin, Texas of Florida. It's very artsy.
that's a good comparison.
Okay. So how does it work for you going back and forth from musician to working? Do you do it every weekend as a musician, or do you take like a couple weeks here and then a couple weeks working?
It's well, as of right now, we are taking a little bit of time just like to ourselves to kind of get our money and finances back in order, and just kind of like re-level everything so we can go back out. The way that we've been doing it is like we'll go out on a tour and we'll play in Florida at that time, and then we'll come back and work until we have another tour to go back out on. With like some shows sprinkled in here and there, like we have 11/11 Fest coming up on 11/11, November 11th. and like that's gonna be our like our last thing for a little bit, except for maybe like some local shows, but nothing is planned as of yet. Yeah, so it's kind of like music and then kind of stop and like settle and kind of get our stuff back together and then go back out.
How do you pick the locations that you're going to be playing in, or do you? Does somebody else do that?
Just well, now someone else does it, but before it's just like you just like learn over time. Like there's plenty of venues we've been to all over the United States that we're like, okay, well we're never coming here again. You know what I mean? So it's like, but like now, like once you like get in the rhythm, like you're gonna fail, you're gonna have like weird venues and like weird shows, but then you just like choose not to go there, and then the places that you do like, you just remember them or have it written down and you just book there again.
We also like we have a lot of like friends as bands, you know, like we work with a lot of bands and we'll like do a show swap where they'll come down to Orlando and we'll hook them up with a good venue and a good show and, you know, good bands, and they'll do the same. So we kind of learn where the markets are and, you know, who are the bands that we like and like, you know, people that we're compatible with, etc. And it's just kind of, and that was how it was kind of built. That's how we built ourselves up, and now we have, but with the booking agent, you know, like we'll just be, he'll be like, hey, you know, like here's a tour. Do you guys want to do this? And then it'll be booked, and we'll just go and we'll show up and jam out.
So how did you end up here? Have you played here? This is the Noise Box.
Yeah.
I've been a Tampa resident for years, and I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
So
The guy who started the Noise Box, this is like I think it's like a couple years old. It's still fairly new. The guy that started it, he has this festival every year called Hope Fest, where they donate to like I think it's to cancer. It's and we played it last year, I believe, was our first time.
No,
was it 16? Okay,
ago, yeah.
so 2016 was the first time that we played it. And Andrew used to be in a band called Pushover. Andrew's the guy that kind of runs the place, I believe. I don't want to put anybody else
as
down.
far as you know.
As far as I know, Andrew runs the place. He's the one that we knew, and so we hooked up with him, and he's brought us here, and now it's kind of become a prominent venue for like smaller shows in Tampa. Yeah.
That's cool. We played here a couple times, not at the fest, and we played here a couple times at the fest as well. This is our first time, I think, headlining here, which is cool.
What's your major means of promoting yourself?
Social media.
Social media, that's where it is now. When we're home, sometimes like I've gone out to like national shows that come through at some of the bigger venues, like a couple days or the day before our show, and we'll pass out like flyers and hand out like our label sampler and stuff, just to get people like going, kind of like old school a little bit. But it's hard to do that in places you're not from. So the easiest way is targeted advertisements on Facebook or Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not Instagram and Facebook, you do one, it kind of does both. So,
Yeah.
And now you can do some cool things where on your Instagram story you can like, I think you can like sponsor the Insta story. So then like it, like, I don't know. But I don't know. Like I don't know. We just try to promote social media as much as possible.
Yeah.
It's pretty much
Make as many friends as possible and send it out to them.
That's another big thing, is like becoming friends with the bands you play with in the cities that you go to. So it's like if you become friends with those bands, when you come through again, they're gonna bring people out even if they're not playing, or they're gonna want to support your band. And
Yeah,
want to
cross promotion.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Word of mouth is still the best way to promote.
oh yeah, absolutely. Things get buried online all the time. So
All right, any last words?
Check out Will. Yeah, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's on literally everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere, and keep an eye out for the future, I guess, yeah.
All right, so everybody look for the Hungover Band in the future.
Right.
And This is Brent Michael with Rock at Night, saying sayonara.